Good morning, it's Harvey Jackson. Uh, there's always seems to be lots of news these days, but uh, article that caught my eye is the fertilizer worries and grain price problem. So Iran war fertilizer squeeze could spell trouble for next year's grain harvest. And in here, it's actually I'll just maybe highlight fertilizer supplies off. Uh, Cut off by the Middle East war, farmers worse off than 2022 fertilizer crunch. So that was the Russia-Ukraine, but that also created a problem since that war too. With increasing prices of fertilizer since then. Analysts fear planting and yield drag as farms will very likely start cutting fertilizer or not plant at all. Here's just the graphic that they're showing is just the different areas of pricing. Nitrogen World Index, then your Middle Eastern and your Arab Gulf area, and then New Orleans pricing. So it just keeps on going up here. Veg oils post a first weekly gain. That's a good thing. Trump called suspect in the press dinner attack very sick guy. So uh, if you haven't heard that there was another potential assassination attempt, or it's been the guy was caught before he even got into the ballroom by Secret Service. You can see that the unsettled weather across the uh, some of the northern areas of the growing area, but it's been pretty cold and there's snow in there. I got a little skiff here this morning. You can see how cold it is, just the temperature very instant. But then you can see how this temperature rolls in here. You can see that frost is starting to reach down close to Kansas, and whether that's going to impact any growing conditions there as well. But you look at the 7-day forecast, and it's got a bit of a void of getting rain. And you can see where that's important. It would be western Kansas and Nebraska there as well. Just a quick look at the markets here. Canola is unchanged on the July contract. On the November contract, it's only up 90 cents. Rapeseed is up $3.25. There's a report coming out later today, I think around 11:45 or 11:30, just after the market closes for the rapeseed contract. That's going to potentially have some. It's going to have European monthly data now that they got a growing season there. Soybean oil down just fractionally a quarter of a penny at 71.10. Palm oil down 60 ringgits. Crude oil is up half a dollar at 94.87. Diesel fuel is up 10 cents at 3.89. Soybeans up a penny and 3/4 at 11.80. Spring wheat up 2 3/4 cents at 6.96. So the spring wheat is taking the gains of some of that weather situations there, and yet the red winter is down 2 1/4 cents at 6.67. Your Chicago wheat is up 3 cents, and your milling wheat is basically unchanged. Corn is up 4 cents, and the Canadian dollar is up as well. Quick look at the market here. Still this decision level that I put in here at just 749. So we'll have to see if the market actually will trade there. You can see that there's been the market did trade a little higher on the overnight and is basically right where it closed off on Friday. So we are at that decision level right now for new crop. But when I look at slow stochastics, this is still, we got in here and we're still waiting for it to cross over just like we did back here. So that's an exit point, and we need it to cross over at some point here. Now, is that going to be our seasonal timeline to get in? I would highly suggest it is when the slow stochastics cross over. European rapeseed still rallying. It looks like it's going to try to break through this previous highs that it's made here. Soybean oil, it went through there last week, still trading above it and above the short-term moving averages. Soybeans still doing nothing. It's still trading in this wide range here for over a month now, or narrow range, I should say. Here's your palm oil. I'd like to see it get above this previous resistance line and see if it can stick it there. Crude oil trend was up through last week, and we'll see how it's going to hold out here. If there's no talks, no real negotiation, no sit downs with Iran, I don't see this getting any better at the moment. Here's your diesel fuel futures, and it's still going up here. And your gasoline is trying to make new highs here, just on the energy complex. Canadian dollar, fairly strong up day there. today. So we'll see if this is going to stick here. 78.6 is right at 73.77, and we're at 73.61 right now. The US dollar looks like it could be trying to point down, and you got your Nasdaq and your S&P rallying. And I did see an article over the weekend. I just couldn't find it here to quote, but S&P and Nasdaq, or especially the S&P, had rallied before each financial crunch, and they made new highs just before it took effect of like world economic events to go down. Here's your spring wheat. I would look for this area. 740 would be your Fibonacci extension. Total upside would be up here at $7.67. I'm still being very patient and just let this market keep going up. Here's your September contract, making new highs here as well, and your December contract. And again, look for that pivot point extension at 750. With the Canadian dollar going up, it sure doesn't make basis any better there either. Here's your Kansas contract, 740 to 750 is the area. So it's made the trend change and making higher highs, but now we need to stick above that line here. Corn, it's been going in the right direction for sure. And Euro futures, trading right at the $3.37.